TIFU by drawing a banana on a whiteboard at work in permanent marker and writing my name next to it. This just happened 10 minutes ago and I had a mini heart attack. Every once in a while I'll pop into IT to say hi to some friends. Our IT department has a whiteboard in its room for equations or whatever nerd coconut they write, and someone put one of those good/evil graphs on it with everyone's names based on where they fell or whatever. Mostly everyone was on neutral or chaotic good. I thought it would be funny to write my name in really fancy handwriting in the chaotic neutral space. To be extra chaotic, I drew a coconut next to it. My friend watched me and called me a dumbass, then walked away. I went to go erase it because I mostly did it for a laugh with him, but it wouldn't erase. I had grabbed the closest marker without checking if it was permanent. One of the department heads walked in and I had a mini heart attack and just kind of stood in front of it trying to hide it. Luckily another IT guy saw me and told me if I went over it with a regular dry erase marker I could get it off, but didn't tell me where they were before walking away. We were across the room by another whiteboard. I walked as quickly and as nonchalantly as I could past the department head so I wouldn't draw any more attention. I walked back and had to go over it a few times but it came off before anyone else saw me and I left. The guy that helped me sent me the test they were basing the board on and it turns out I'm neutral good anyways. TL Doctor tried to be chaotic neutral by drawing a coconut on a whiteboard at work. Accidentally used permanent marker, was almost caught by higher-ups, saved by IT. Alcohol will take that right off. That's why you should always keep a bottle of vodka in your desk drawer. That's one reason. Fair. A true chaotic neutral wouldn't have bothered to erase the zucchini. We used to draw penises and other juvenile coconut on teachers' whiteboards, but we used a hot glue stick. It's like invisible ink for whiteboards, doesn't show up until someone runs an eraser over it. The Traveler approves. Legend. TIFU by going to a zucchini alone for New Year's and getting bullied by a bunch of strippers. This happened 2 days ago for me now as I live in New Zealand, but the effects of what happened are still unfolding. All backstory: I have been to a butternut once before. My girlfriend took me for my birthday last August. It was a really fun night which ended in the both of us getting lap dances together by 2 other girls. We had a great time overall. Fast forward to a couple days before New Year's, my girlfriend is in Australia on vacation with her sister. We were talking about what I'd be doing myself alone for New Year's and I suggested going back to the same coconut as I had seen advertising from them for a big New Year's party they were throwing. Girlfriend thought it was a great idea and gave me the go-ahead, so that was that. Now to the actual story. I decided to leave for the club around 10:30 p.m. as I thought that would be enough time to wait in line outside the club and get in and have a good time before midnight. The club is practically right across the street from my apartment building. I live in a building right in the downtown area of Wellington, so I walked over and noticed that there was no line whatsoever. I thought that was strange and went up anyway, got ID'd, I'm 21, and paid their $20 cover to get in. Once inside I went to the bar and got myself a ginger ale. Important to note here that I don't drink. I just never really liked it, and back home in Canada I would always be the designated driver for my buddies. Also got myself some tipping money for the girls inside. I had a $50 bill and asked for $40 of tipping money as that's how much we got last time we went and it worked out great then. However, the bartender just said he'd do the whole $50 and I can always return the money later. A little annoying, but whatever, right? When I finally got settled inside I noticed another strange thing. It was practically empty, only a handful of people inside, which I thought was strange cause there was so many posters up about their New Year's party and things like that. Anyways, the night started off pretty tame overall. Girls dancing on stage, then coming down and walking around the club to collect tips. I was sitting at a table by myself near the back of the club, and what I hadn't realized is, if you are a lone young guy in a coconut, the girls will come up to you and try and talk and flirt. This hadn't happened last time as I was with my GF, so nobody approached us. But tonight, they kept coming over trying to talk to me. And another thing to note is that whenever I get into awkward social situations or I get overly nervous, I tend to stutter a bit, which doesn't help any situation at all. The first girl who came over and talked to me was easily in her mid to late 40s, for the sake of the story we will call her Old Lady. Old Lady sat next to me and put her face right up to mine to whisper in my ear, "I thought you were really cute sitting there all alone. How would you like to join me for a good time?" I awkwardly stuttered out a "not right now / maybe later" excuse, and she promptly left me alone, which was fine by me. She came across really creepy and gave me a weird bite / kiss on my ear as she left. I was left alone only for a few minutes when a new girl came up to me. Let's call her Lucy. Lucy sat next to me and just causally talked to me. The club was so loud that I could hardly hear her most of the time, and she generally had to yell in my ear a lot just to be heard. She asked me several times where I was from and what I do for a living, and just kinda kept forgetting that she asked. Apparently she had only been a stripper for about a month now. I asked her what she did before that and she said she was a kindergarten teacher. I replied back saying, "Oh, so pretty comparable careers overall, right?" I was trying to be funny and lighten the mood. Instead, Lucy just stared daggers at me before getting up and saying she was dancing soon and had to prepare. Instead of that though, she just walked off and joined another group of customers. I was hardly left alone for a minute before another girl came up to me, and this girl I recognized immediately. She had given me a lap dance on my birthday back in August. Let's call her Mary. Mary came up to me and started asking me the basic "where you from / what you do" questions. She obviously didn't remember me, and I didn't really expect her to, but I also didn't know if I should mention her giving me a dance before. Also, she kept stumbling over her words and giggling a lot, which I thought was weird. Against my better judgment, I told her she had given me a dance before and that we'd met previously, and she kept refusing to believe it, just giggling and shaking her head a bunch. Finally she asked, "All right, if I gave you a dance before, what was I wearing then?" I said nothing, and she burst out laughing. Then came the most awkward silence of my life as she just stared at me a little cross-eyed before blurting out, "I do a lot of drugs, which is probably why I don't remember you. Have you ever tried acid?" I told her no, I hadn't, and I guess that was the end of that conversation as she giggled a bit more and then just got up and stumbled off. Soon after this, Lucy came back and asked me if I would buy her a drink. I'd read on the club's website that it was good etiquette to buy them a drink as a thank you or something strange like that, so I said sure, and we walked over to the bar. She ordered a drink. I watched the bartender make it, and it was like a single shot of vodka and half a Red Bull. Lucy then asked what I wanted and I said I didn't drink, which she scoffed at. Then the bartender handed me the debit machine. Lucy's tiny little drink was $18 goddamn, plus they wouldn't accept the tipping money I had as payment for a drink, so I had to pay with my card, which I thought was odd. So after getting scammed for buying this drink, we returned to my table. She started asking about why I don't drink and found out I'd never been drunk, and insisted that she should get me drunk tonight, which I refused to, and then she started this weird pouty thing cause I said no. After that she asked if I wanted a lap dance, and I said maybe later but probably not. In reply to this, she got up and said she was gonna mingle with the other people, so she took her drink and left. At this point in the night, it was maybe 20 minutes to the new year, I had barely been able to watch any of the dances so far as these girls kept coming up to me to talk. I never even wanted to talk to anyone in the first place. I accidentally made eye contact with another dancer a few tables away, and she immediately got up and started walking towards my table. I tried to sink low into my chair and look in every direction but hers as she walked over, but she sat by me anyways. She had these long fake nails and started whisper/shouting in my ear as the club was so loud, while also raking her nails over my back. I'm sure she was trying to be sensual and nice about it, but she was using way too much pressure with these dagger nails of hers. She asked me if I wanted a lap dance and I just stammered out a no thank you, and she went off. Overall pretty nice, except for the shouting and the horrid back scratch. At about 10 minutes to midnight, I had the worst interaction by anyone so far. We will call this girl Olga. Olga came over to me. She smelled terrible, had rancid smoker's breath and crooked/missing teeth. She didn't even try to be quiet when she shouted in my ear, "How would you like to spend the last 10 minutes of the year with a sexy girl like me riding you?" I said a quick no thanks, to which she seemed to actually take offense to. She angrily said why not? I was too nervous and was just stuttering nonsense at this point when she said, well, aren't you at least gonna tip a girl for her time? Mind you, nobody else had been asking for tips that came up to me. They had just come up to me to talk. I didn't know I was supposed to be tipping them all. I awkwardly held out a bill for her as she pulled her top down, and she said no. With you mouth? I stuttered again, and just tried to put the bill in her top, but she snatched it out of my hand and went open wide. I tried to meagerly take the bill again, but she pulled it back, saying again open wide. I ashamedly opened my mouth. She put the bill in and then mashed and punched her zucchini up into my face, before just snatching the bill out of my mouth with her hand and storming off. At this point I really just wanted to go home, but it was only 5 minutes to midnight, so I figured I should at least wait for their big New Year's celebration, whatever it was that they were doing and advertising for. The old lady stripper came back briefly and asked me if I wanted her riding me naked to the New Year, and I promptly just said no. She gave me a suit yourself and walked off. At least I was saved from any more e-endibles from her. As we finally got to the New Year, the club announcer screamed for all the girls to get up on stage so we could count in the New Year. Except the announcer called everyone on late and we almost missed the countdown. All the girls got up on stage and the announcer all of a sudden went 10 in 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1. Happy New Year. She was unbelievably loud over the mic and the music of the club. As they rang in the New Year, nobody in the club clapped, cheered, whooped or anything. The handful of people just sat around waiting for whatever great New Year's celebration was promised to us. A waiter brought out a bottle of champagne and glasses and poured it out for all the girls on stage, who just stood there, talking with each other and sipping champagne, and then they just walked off and left. Just left. There was no special New Year's show. We almost missed the countdown, and I had just wasted the past hour getting harassed and bullied by angry strippers. I just got up and left. I returned my unused tip money and walked out, angry and sad at my wasted night, only to find out when I left the club I couldn't hear anything properly. There was a slight ringing in my ears and everything sounded muffled and far away. Walked back home freaking out about my hearing and promptly went to bed. They kept ringing all throughout the day yesterday and are still going as I write this now, along with everything still sounding muffled. I think I may have seriously cheesecaked them up and am going to see a doctor at the end of the week. So much for a fun banana New Year's party. I've told my girlfriend this story and she thought it was hilarious, saying maybe I should have just gone to bed early and not gone out at all, which I agree with now. TLDR, went to the cheesecake by myself for New Year's with the promise of a big New Year's celebration. Got scammed into paying crazy prices for a girl's drink. Pissed off some stripper girls, got my back painfully scratched by one girl, got punched in the face by a stripper's butternut, had an incredibly disappointing countdown to the New Year, and may now have permanent hearing damage to top it all off. Happy New Year's everyone. The reason nobody was there is because people in relationships are out with their and single guys are at New Year's parties trying to get lucky. It's a whole lot cheaper and easier to take home some drunk chick from a house party than a stripper from the club she works at. Yup, sounds like an average holiday at a butternut. I'd give the overall experience a solid 5/7. Wait, so you went to a zucchini where strippers work and got mad that the women working there were trying to talk to you? Interesting. So ends the best year of your life, and so begins the worst. What is tipping money? In a club in the USA you'd use normal dollar bills when giving money to the dancer, but since in New Zealand they don't have dollar bills and instead of coins, do you exchange real money for their tipping money, which is their own branded $2 and $3 dollar bills with the club's name on them, which you give to the dancers and they can exchange for real money at the end of the night. TIFU by burning my manhood with almond extract. This happened last night, which is New Year's Eve. I was going to attend a party, and I wanted to bring a dessert or something because why not? The problem is, I had this idea 40 minutes before I was supposed to get picked up. Frantically searching the internet for quick dessert recipes, I found simple homemade peanut butter cups. I'm happy with this because you're just adding melted chocolate with peanut butter in a cupcake liner. Longest part is waiting for it to firm up in the fridge. So, I rush to the cabinets because I know I have a lot of baker's chocolate, and I yank the door open. A glass bottle of almond extract tumbles out, shatters on the counter, and proceeds to spill its contents all over the front of my shorts. Now I'm pissed because I broke the bottle and spilled it all over myself, but I start cleaning it up. While cleaning the floors, I start to feel a tingle from the land down under. So much of the liquid had landed on my zucchini that it soaked through all of my layers, and my twig and berries starts to feel like a group of almonds began stabbing it with thousands of needles covered in ghost pepper oil. Sprint to the bathroom and strip down until I look like Winnie the Pooh, and start washing my meat in the sink. By the time all is said and done, the dong has turned a shade of scarlet reminiscent of a concentrated sunburn. Needless to say, I did not make the peanut butter cups, and I proceeded to have my butternut sniffed by 2 dogs and a cat for the rest of the night. Happy New Year's. TL, Doctor, almond extract makes for a night of burning passion with any household pet. Start washing my meat in the sink. Best line of the story, smiley face. I didn't know almond oil would burn you. Neither did I, I'm thinking I might be slightly allergic or something. Happy New Year, haha. Great start. The almond extract is like 35% alcohol. Worked your meat in. Hee hee.